Well, hey, Neal, thanks for joining me this morning. I'm excited to just ask a couple questions as you wrapped up your time with Therapy Flow and dig a little bit into what your experience was, what your journey was, and what advice you would have for practice owners in general, but especially anyone that's either thinking about joining Therapy Flow or currently in one of our programs. So welcome in.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, being part of Therapy Flow was like a 10x leap for our business and where
Yeah.
we are today.
Okay, that's wonderful. Tell me a little bit about where you started. You and your wife own this group practice, and you're an all cash pay practice, correct?
Yep.
And how many, like, it was your wife as kind of a full-time, you guys own the practice, and then did you have any other clinicians at the time that you joined Therapy Flow?
Yeah, so when we started, we had two,
Okay.
and that included my wife.
Okay. Okay, so two licensed clinicians. And why did you initially want to join a program, or like what were you needing help with when you were on the search for help?
Yeah, so we started the company a year ago, like the beginning of 2022.
Okay.
And 2022 was really rough for us because even though I'm here in the CEO seat, I came from the marketing world. Like that was my background before. I thought I understood how
Okay.
to do marketing to fill therapist caseloads.
Yeah.
And 2022 was just a testament that I had no idea. Like
Kicked your butt.
yeah, I could not translate the knowledge and skills I had here over into this new world. It was completely different.
Yeah.
And so after just banging my head on the wall for all of 2022, it was New Year's 2023. And New Year's Day, I realized I need help. Like I've always had the biggest leaps in my businesses in the past and my career in the past whenever I invest in coaching.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I need to find some coaches. Uh, and then that's how I found y'all. It was just a few days after that, like 2 days after that,
Yeah.
I was looking for Facebook ads online, like done for you Facebook ads for
Yeah.
therapists. That was the Google search. And I landed on a page on your website, and y'all don't even offer that service. But when you told me about the Therapy Flow program, I was like, this is what I need. So we joined the first week of January,
Yeah.
and we've never looked back.
Yeah, an incredible time to start. And you kind of worked with our team in a really intimate way for about 4 months. So January through the end of April, like really directly, heavily. You guys came in with two clinicians. Just paint the picture. Where do you feel like you ended anecdotally, like emotionally, physically, tangibly, and then maybe like some like revenue numbers if you even feel comfortable sharing some of those things.
Absolutely. So when we started, I remember telling you on the call, these are our goals. Our
Yeah.
goals were we're trying to get to about 4 therapists at least, 30,000 in monthly recurring revenue. At the time, we were at about 10,000.
Yeah.
Uh, and we were trying to build a inbound lead system that allowed me to really just take it off, right?
Yeah.
And also, I'll say this too, where I was before, I was doing consulting on the side just to like pay the bills. And
Yeah.
so one of my other very intrinsic motivations was that I don't want to do that anymore. I
Right.
don't want
You
to
want
have to
one
feel,
job.
yeah, I don't want to have to feel pressure to go find consulting gigs. I want to just work in Enjoy Co.
Yeah.
And I want this to be a reality by the time we end the program.
Yeah.
So fast forward a little bit. Right now, we are at 5 therapists. We
Okay.
do I need to like count our monthly recurring revenue, but we easily do 30,000 monthly
Yeah.
recurring revenue. All we have a inbound marketing system that's automated.
Yeah.
We have a sales process that works. We're easily filling up our cash pay therapists at their full rate. We
Yeah.
have a sales system where we don't negotiate price.
Right.
Like leads call in and we talk to leads on the phone, and we're not saying, oh, but we can do lower or et cetera, et cetera. Like we're selling people at our full rate, and we're filling entire caseloads
Yeah.
with this. So we're increasing our monthly recurring revenue and our caseload month after month.
Yeah. And then I always like to think through it, because I've done my own business work with programs and coaches. What are some things you felt like you actually got right before you worked with Therapy Flow and our team and our process, like that you kind of came in with an advantage on? Just, it's like, hey, like we probably had a leg up, or we had already figured this part out. And then what are some things that you were definitely like doing wrong, or you really like finally clicked once you were working with our team?
Easy. Branding was our advantage.
Yeah,
So
I agree with that. When I hit your guys' like website and your brand and some of your like other stuff, I was like, wow, like you guys had spent a lot of time building out the look, the feel, the function, the values, the experience that someone could have with you and your team. So 100%, that's what I was going to say too.
absolutely, like our company is called Enjoyco, and we wanted to create this feel where people felt joy filled through our therapy,
Yeah.
right? Through approaching our brand online, on our website, etc. And so we nailed that up front. Now,
Yeah.
this also leads into kind of what we were doing wrong. So our branding was awesome.
Yeah.
And the reason we had enough capital to invest into our branding and go all in on that is because, we published a book and
Yeah.
we had an author's advance. We had a ton of capital from that. We just turned it right back around and focused on our branding. But because we had to sell the book, we then started focusing on marketing initiatives that were more about building an online platform than it was about filling caseloads. And that was
Yeah.
the thing that we were doing wrong in 2022. We kind of figured that by building an online platform, it would lead to more sales on the therapy side. And it
Right.
does. Like, it builds your reputation up, and
Yeah.
it does capture leads and starts to nurture them, and it does. But here's the missing piece that we had. We didn't really have a system for capturing and converting in-market leads, meaning people who are looking for therapy right now.
Right.
We were building these marketing systems and focusing all of our marketing on basically training the market to eventually want therapy,
Yeah.
while missing out on all the revenue from people who are
Right.
currently looking for therapy. And
Yeah.
that was the shift we made in joining Therapy Flow, is that we started to build systems for people who are in the market for therapy, right? While continuing some of this stuff, but prioritizing this so we get the cash that we deserved in the market.
Right. Right. And, I know sometimes like, oh, like we built an inbound marketing system, like that can feel really vague and indirect. Like what are some of the inputs, as we call them? What are some of the inputs that you did that are still generating inquiries for you right now? Just like, what's the spread of all the different places that inquiries are coming from?
Yeah. So 3 places. Organic. So this
Yep.
is kind of like what we were doing before, but we got way more strategic about optimizing our website, capturing the lead, social media, etc.,
Yeah.
so that we get therapy clients. So organic listing sites, which was a big contribution from the program, because we did
Okay.
not know all the listing sites that were out there, but we started optimizing listing sites to help generate leads for us. And then Google ads, which,
Okay.
you know, we knew we wanted a paid advertising channel. And when we started the program, we were doing Facebook ads, and we did a bunch of trial and error with Facebook ads before realizing that our avatar, the people that we're trying to aim for
Right.
therapy, uh, they're not on, I mean, they're on Facebook, but it's a different profile. Like, it didn't appeal to them as much
Yeah.
as Google ads.
Yeah.
And
Which
so,
which is fair, and one of the things we work through, right? And it's
yeah,
like, okay, like there's a lot of art right? And that's like the branding, the process, the experience. And then there's like a lot of science, like how do we optimize this? How do we build out a system? Like what are best practices, not just for marketing, but like marketing for the therapy space for clients who want therapy right now, right? So
Exactly. So those are like our three channels:
yeah,
organic, listing sites, Google ads. And
okay,
again, a lot of therapists might be scared about paid ads, et cetera, et cetera.
yeah,
But I loved being in the sandbox that y'all provided and the testing ground, because you guys came alongside us to help us really crack the code on how to figure out Google ads.
yeah.
And our Google ads are working really well right now. Like, we just closed a client today from Google ads. It's great.
Yeah, it feels good when they're just like, oh, they just kind of like work now. And like that's
Yeah.
where we want all the counselors to get, is just like you end the time, and time is a little bit different for everyone with like benefits, restrictions, other things. But eventually you get to the point just like, hey, they're just running and they're working and it goes well. Out of all the different ways that we sort of provided support and helped, because within our program, there's lots of different like learning venues, building venues, other things. Was there one primary sort of like support channel aspect that you got the most benefit from for like doing the things you just described?
Yeah. I loved the group calls.
Okay.
Like, it was really great to hear what other therapists were doing and where their struggle points were, and be able to kind of offer your own experience, but also plug that into the solutions that you're looking for, right?
Yeah.
Plug that in for the gaps that you have. Uh, like, community learning really is a valuable asset. And so I love that we were able to leverage that in those group coaching calls. But also, I'll say this: there were many times where I was just really stuck on something, and Attilio or someone else was like, hey, let's jump on a call right now. Let's jump on a call at this time and work on this one-on-one. And I loved that little one-on-one support. That private channel that
Yeah.
we had was killer. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
That makes sense. And you guys, built the sort of the inbound system, right? But you're a cash pay practice. And did you feel like you had a lot of resistance, like once to like train admin staff or to like get sort of a sales process up and running? Do you felt like that came naturally to you? How essential did you feel like sort of that admin staff and the training you provided even was? Like, just what was it like? Just be like, okay, we're getting the leads now. Now we have to like sell them at the rate, because you said earlier, like we don't even negotiate anymore. So like it's going well, but like that feel hard? Was that easy?
Yeah, it was pretty easy. I feel like marketing was the big problem,
Okay.
but because of our brand and our experience, uh, we kind of do some pre-selling, right?
Yeah.
That's part of our sales system. Like, our brand, when you have a great, memorable brand, it does some of the legwork and selling for you, right?
Right.
Uh, and we also had a book right here in the background.
Yeah.
But our book, once people book an appointment with us, they find out we have a book, and that almost sells them on wanting to work with us even more,
Yeah.
right? So we had a lot of things like that working for us. But I will say, like, one of my dreams was kind of taking myself out of sales, because
Right.
we started getting a lot of leads and I couldn't keep up with
Right.
that. I value my time.
Yeah.
And so what we did was we hired an admin assistant,
Yeah.
and through y'all's help. But the admin assistant, while you might think they can't do sales and all that sort of stuff, I basically really focus on having that admin assistant be a revenue generator for
Yeah.
us and have them do sales. So I
That's great.
really trained them on sales, gave them a sales call script, listened to their recordings, gave them feedback, set them up with tools and systems to be able to diagnose on the spot of, okay, this person belongs with this therapist, this
Yeah.
person belongs with this therapist. And so I did all of that, and now it's all automated. Now I don't touch the process at all.
Right. Yeah, you're owning a business more and more every day rather than operating the business every day. And like that's a huge separation. That's huge growth. As I imagine that's had a positive effect on like you and your wife and just like your family unit as well here. Have you stopped
Yes.
consulting?
Yes, exactly. So like when I ended Therapy Flow, the program, that's also when I stopped doing consulting because
That's great.
now Enjoyco is at a point where I don't need to go hunting for secondary income. It provides everything.
Yeah. Well, any kind of like last words or comments, maybe to someone who's thinking about, has sort of seen Therapy Flow before? Would you have, I'd say, two versions, any words of encouragement to them and or any advice on how to get the best use of a program like ours?
Yes. Yes. I'm trying to think of like the most essential kind of takeaway because I have something. Um yeah, I would say this for people who are considering working with you guys with Therapy Flow, I would say do it, obviously,
Yeah.
because here's the thing. If you want to go 3x, we went 3x in your program. From
Yeah.
the time we began with you, we were at like 10K. Now we're at 30 plus K per
Yeah.
month. You know, that's 3x growth in just 4 months,
Yeah.
which is nuts.
Yeah.
But if you want those kind of leaps, 3x, 5x, 10x leaps, then you have to get help outside of yourself,
Yeah.
right? You have to put money down and invest in people who've been there and gone before you, get their help, leverage their resources so you can accelerate faster. That's the piece of advice I have for people considering Therapy Flow. You guys have built the program so well, structured it so well that it's really a 1, 2, 3 step process that anyone can pretty much just step onto those rails and accelerate their progress, right?
Yeah.
So definitely for those of you considering the program, that's the piece of advice I have for you. But for those of you inside the program trying to get the most out of it, I would say do the foundational work of
Hmm.
figuring out your client avatar
Yeah.
and um your messaging, all that type of stuff, and really lean on the Therapy Flow team for that foundational work. Because once you understand your client avatar, who you're reaching out to, what do they really want? What are their obstacles? Then everything accelerates from there because that's when you can start to say, okay, here's where these leads are.
Right.
This is the platform I need to focus on. Like, here's where these types of leads are looking for therapy services, right?
Yeah.
And I would also say too, follow the Therapy Flow process. Like your process, the
Follow the
thing I
flow.
follow the
Yeah.
flow. Your process was so good because it did help us build that system for in-market leads, people who are searching for therapy now.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's so many therapists, so many professionals out there who are trying to build marketing that is based on blogging and social media posts that don't go anywhere. You know,
Right.
all the stuff that is just you spinning your wheels trying harder but not really leading
For
to
sure.
results because it's about capturing leads that are not really considering therapy but will one day consider therapy. You
Yeah.
know, they're not looking for a solution now, and I feel like the Therapy Flow process of coming up with an offer and doing paid advertising, all of that
Yeah.
sort of stuff helped us build a system that works for this side of the market. And I would say that's my big takeaway for you in the program. Follow the process
Yeah.
and define that client avatar and work with the team to experiment. Because one of the
Right.
things too that you mentioned, Josh, uh, there It's an art and a science. There's no one single path to follow that will give you these results. It depends on
We
your
wish,
avatar.
right?
Yeah.
We wish it was
Yeah, I know,
that
right?
simple. It's simple, but like not that simple. Like there's some nuance, unfortunately.
Like there's some nuance. It depends on the person you're reaching, the
Yeah.
market. You could be the only cash pay practice in your area, and that affects your marketing
Yeah.
and sales. You have to know your market and your audience. And really, I would spend a lot of the time you have in your private channel and even in the group calls to just have an experimental mindset of,
Yeah.
okay, what's going to work for me, my people, and my market. And then once you figure all those puzzle pieces out with the Therapy Flow team's help, then you're off to the races.
Definitely. Well, hey, Neal, thanks so much for some of those kind words and just sharing a little bit more about kind of the process and experience that we went through. Really appreciate knowing you and seeing the growth that you guys have experienced and just celebrating with you. And like, that's the biggest thing is like, we just get to celebrate with the practice owners as they grow, as they hit milestones and as they move through the different things. So thank you for letting us be a part of this process and experience. And more than anything, thank you for being someone that takes action. I remember when you joined, like it was a couple days and you were like, I just pounded through all of these different things and I got my first ad up. I got my first thing done. And it was just like this dude's taking action. And that's a huge credit both to you and why your guys' practice got results is we can do our best to guide, to consult, to answer hard questions or provide technical help. We do those things, but ultimately when a practice owner like you takes massive action, you're rewarded with your level of consistency you applied, with the level of commitment you and your wife have to the practice and to the clinicians that you hire and to the care that you guys provide to your community. So I just, want to commend you as well for like the achievement you have achieved, in partial work with Therapy Flow, but like we just get to be a part of your guys' larger story and your larger impact for the thousands of clients you're going to see this year through your practice and the joy of care that is now going to be provided. So, celebrating with you on those things.
Yes, man. Thank you so much for building this program. I'm so stoked for all the people you're going to help.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right.